It's Thursday, the 19th of October, 2023. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's get going. Story number 1, Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock says the strength of the local housing market has surprised her and the drop in prices last year wasn't as large as expected, while the pickup this year is better than forecast.
She said there are a few things going on. The increase in construction costs had made buying an existing home relatively more attractive. Also, low supply meant turnover had been low, putting pressure on prices, and the average number of people living in a house had fallen. Now, all this came after a survey of economists forecast that house prices will rise by about 8% this year after last year's 5% fall. This was a survey that appeared in the Financial Review. Now, in all 5 previous episodes over the past 30 years when prices rebounded, they started rebounding after the central bank began cutting rates. This time, they've rebounded beforehand. All sounds good for homeowners, but there's a big but. If interest rates aren't working like they used to and dampening house prices and what's known as the wealth effect, whereby people feel richer when their homes are appreciating, maybe the Reserve Bank will have to do more on rates.
Just quickly, Sean, you mentioned the comments of the Reserve Bank Governor Michelle Bullock before. This was all part of a speech yesterday. What else did she have to say?
Broadly, she said the economy remains on track, though she's worried about near-term inflation expectations. In the medium term, though, things look better. She said the longer inflation stays above the Reserve Bank's target, the more people observe price rises in their day-to-day lives. It means it's harder to get inflation down. Bullock said what's going on in the Middle East could keep inflation higher for longer and could hurt economic growth. She also said it seems that people still have a fair amount of savings, be that in offset accounts or somewhere else. That might be needed because the full impact of the rate rises in the past 17 months is yet to be felt.
Okay, moving on to story number 2. Whitehaven Coal will pay more than $5 billion for BHP's 2 coking coal mines in Queensland. But, Sean, not all shareholders will be happy.
Whitehaven's London-based shareholder Bill Rock has been lobbying the coal miner to pull out of the auction. Clearly that didn't happen because Whitehaven is now BHP's preferred bidder. The group went into a trading halt yesterday, presumably as it works out how to raise the money to buy the mines. Mind you, it's got about $2.3 billion in the bank. Pretty good start. Whitehaven said about 70% of its revenue in the future will come from coking coal for steel making upon acquisition of the mines, reducing its reliance on thermal coal for power generation. Bill Rock's beef with Whitehaven is the decision to suspend a share buyback in August, and the UK group wants shareholders to be able to vote on this deal. Having said that, Whitehaven's share price jumped 14% yesterday, so obviously there's a bunch of shareholders pretty happy with the deal.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Story number 3, Sean, big news in Radioland. ARN Media and buyout fund Anchorage Capital Partners have made a bid for Southern Cross Media, sending SCA's share price up 18%.
ARN is home to the KISS network, iHeartRadio, and worth about $270 million. SCA is home to the Triple M network and Listener app. And after yesterday's share price surge, it's worth more than $200 million. Now, the bid's worth around $226 million. There's also about $100 million in net debt. So the number being used is $320 to $330 million. The bidder said the idea is to separate the assets of the two groups into separate national media organisations. Essentially, ARN becomes KISS and Triple M across Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth. Also take a bunch of regional radio stations. Anchorage gets the rest, Pure Gold, Hit Network, SCA's TV network. SCA didn't sound real fussed on the idea yesterday. Still a lot to play out on that one. Also the mega deal with Kyle Sandilands and Jackie Henderson, Jackie O, supposedly worth $200 million plus, is in the mix. Good one to watch, Michael.
Oh, it certainly is. Very exciting. Story number 4, dairy processing workers have stopped work for 48 hours, Sean, joining milk tanker drivers on strike in a move that could potentially disrupt milk supplies.
We all drink milk. This is what's going to happen to your latte, Michael. It's the largest industrial action in the industry, possibly ever, and farmers are warning they could be forced to dump milk. Now, cows have to be milked every day. They certainly don't go on strike. So if the milk isn't collected and processed, farmers have little option but to get rid of it after a few days. The dairy processing workers want a 5% pay rise, and the Australian dairy farmers have called on both sides to find a solution. I hope they do.
Yeah, me too. Story number 5, last one, and I have no idea what to make of it, Sean. So let's hear it. The CEO of AirAsia, the fast-growing carrier across the region, has taken office protocol arguably to a new low. Tony Fernandez is his name. He posted a picture of himself shirtless, receiving a massage, as you do, of course, as he sat at an office conference table presiding over a conference call.
It is not a pretty picture. I've seen it. According to Bloomberg, the now deleted LinkedIn post said, I quote, got to love Indonesia and AirAsia culture that I can have a massage and do a management meeting. End quote. Fernandez said a female colleague had suggested the massage after what he termed a stressful week. The comments on the post weren't generous, with many pointing out that women in his workplace in particular wouldn't be comfortable. A few were humorous along the lines of applauding him for being an agent of change in the body positivity movement. Fernandez said he had just enjoyed an 18-hour flight, but it wasn't in an economy. Anyway, 18-hour flight and was in pain. He said it was a spontaneous idea and he didn't mean to offend anyone. Moral of this story, Michael, never appear half naked in the workplace, even if you're the boss.
I think that is a very good lesson, Sean. There we go, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Thursday, the 19th of October, 2023. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed Business News wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.